My sister Pacita always had big dreams, even though we came from Batanes, a very small island in the northernmost part of the Philippines. When she became a painter later in life, she loved to create big, bold, and colorful paintings, which would often be too large to hang in a museum, never mind a house. Pacita's painting of a 55-meter long, 35-meter high, and 230-ton bridge over the Singapore River, however, was much bigger than any of us could ever have imagined. Not only that, it is the first and only art bridge in the whole world. What is even more incredible is that Pacita completed this massive project during the last year of her life, while she was critically ill and undergoing treatment for cancer. Yet, most people never even knew she was sick, as she maintained her joyous spirit and disguised her head with a colorful array of beads, bandanas, and braids as she continued to paint. I asked Pacita how she got the idea to paint the bridge, and she just smiled and said, "It's funny how a cup of coffee can stimulate the senses." She told me that when she was an artist in residence at the Singapore Tyler Print Institute in April 2003, where she was working on her Circles in My Mind series, that she would have daily coffee breaks with her colleagues. At first, the pedestrian Alkaff bridge did not make much of an impression on Pacita. It was painted like a naval warship, a battleship gray color. Gradually, however, she began to appreciate the bridge's lines and its round steel tube structure. The more she looked at the bridge, Pacita knew that if she covered it with vibrant colors and playful circles, people would really take notice instead of simply walking over it or just passing by. Pacita told me that if every government agency approved her proposal to paint the Alkaff Bridge, then Singapore was truly becoming a city for the arts. Final approval, however, would take some time, but Pacita couldn't wait to get started. If coffee got Pacita thinking, then champagne really got her going. It was in France, in the middle of Champagne country, that Pacita designed her Singapore Bridge, while she was an artist in residence in the village of Marnay. Pacita's goal was to transform the bridge into a colorful piece of outdoor sculpture and give a cheerful feeling to the cold steel structure. She was really excited as she could visualize in her mind the colorfully painted bridge covered with circles. Pacita called me and she was ecstatic that her bridge project had been approved. But a few days later, she received a cruel jolt as her cancer had come back and spread to her brain and spinal canal. Despite the devastating news, she was determined to finish her bridge project. Pacita told her doctors that they had to let her out of the hospital so that she could paint her bridge. This is what she did for the next 2 months, with short returns to the hospital in between. Every day, Pacita received treatments in the morning and then proceeded to the bridge and did what she loved best: paint. Pacita realized that she had committed to a huge undertaking and literally didn't know how much time she had left to do the job. Fortunately, STPI was able to coordinate a number of people, companies, and government agencies who enthusiastically supported the bridge project. Pacita had highly skilled rope access technicians from the Professional Industrial Rope Access Services to help her paint the bridge. When the team, led by Michelle Tan, got together, they were full of excitement when they saw Pacita's colorful bridge designs. Then the room turned quiet, and one of the painters asked to see the detailed work drawings. Being an artist, Pacita hadn't thought of that, but promised that they would be ready in a week. Thank God for computers. Pacita decided to put her hand-painted designs onto a three-dimensional model of the bridge. In this way, she was able to transform her sketches into detailed, color-coded designs for each beam on the bridge. It sounded simple, but it was pure torture for Pacita in her weekend condition, as she spent 10 hours a day for almost a week individually applying 55 color codes and over 2,000 circle designs on her computerized bridge model. It was exhausting for Pacita, but she produced a detailed work plan that was easy for the painters to follow. Painting the circles on the bridge was the most difficult part of the project, as they had to be painted in a variety of designs, sizes, and colors. She told me that she was lucky to have a team of specialists who were fast, becoming aerial art acrobats. As the colors and circles on the bridge started to appear, the team members became energized and began to appreciate the beauty of their labor. The Pacita's painted bridge was conceived in April 2003, and 9 months later, just like a newborn baby, it was finally inaugurated in January 2004. Unbeknownst to Pacita, a friend, Michael Liu, had been secretly taking photographs detailing the transformation of the bridge. He gave Pacita a gift wrap box of his 180 photos, which later became the basis for her book, Pacita's Painted Bridge. Even after her bridge was inaugurated, Pacita kept going down to the bridge to paint more colorful circles on the railings. While she was painting, she would talk to curious passers-by about the project, and pretty soon, people started referring to her as the Bridge Lady, and Pacita loved that title. Pacita's health continued to deteriorate steadily over the next few months, but that didn't stop her from painting more circles in her studio, sometimes 10 to 12 hours a day. She just kept going and hoping against hope that somehow she could continue to paint. It just wasn't to be though, and during her last few months, she was confined to a wheelchair. But she still opened her last painting exhibition of more than 120 circle paintings at the Cultural Center of the Philippines. She then returned to Fundación Pacita, which she had built on her native island of Batanes, before leaving for Singapore. On the way to the hospital, she made one last visit to her bridge and gave a big smile. 2 days after her passing, more than 400 friends, fans, and family gathered on Pacita's painted bridge, which was covered with her favorite flowers and her colorful painted lion, Simba. Everyone said their last goodbyes to the Bridge Lady. After her death, it is incredible how her spirit lives on through her artwork, Fundación Pacita, and especially her painted bridge. Pacita always believed that art should play an important role in people's daily lives. Her dream was that everyone who walks over or passes by the Alkaff Bridge will smile and enjoy her colorful work of art. Pacita's painted bridge is one woman's colorful gift to the people of Singapore and to the world.